On this, the 17th day of May, 2022, at 6 p.m., for a regular scheduled council meeting at City Hall. All items are posted on front and back of the City Hall here. They're legally posted to pursue the meeting here. So as we stand, we'll ask Mayor Pro Tem Henry Pace to lead us in an opening prayer, and I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, I just want to thank you for everything before I ask you for anything. Thank you for your darling son, Jesus, that died on the cross for us. Thank you for this opportunity to come and share. Thank you for this opportunity to serve. And just ask that we would come and serve with the willingness to do the things that would be in line with the city and for the citizens. And just ask that we would do things decent and in order. And ask you would bless us as we depart from this place, but never from your presence. In your name I pray forever. Amen.
Amen. Face the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God,
one and indivisible. Now's the time for citizens comments. Cheryl, we have any citizens signed up?
I did not.
Okay. All right. We'll move forward to council. If they don't have anything to say, and I do have something to say. I want to give a little praise to our Mayor Pro Tem, Henry Pace. Henry took over last month and he was the mayor. And I'm so proud of him. I watched him on YouTube and he did a really fine job. It looked like everything went real smooth, so I know I can take vacation time anytime I need to. Henry will just take right over and roll with the flow. So, the only problem is I did get to ride in an ambulance. I wasn't too great about that. I wasn't so sure about riding in the ambulance, but you know, I had a really good trip. I carried me to Tyler and we just cruised right over there. Everything went real smooth. I got over there, I was ready to come home. But anyway, they wouldn't let me. But everything worked out well and we're in good shape. So, Henry, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? Add, Jay, sure. Joe? Mike, you got anything? I'm good. Okay. All right, then we'll move right along. We'll open up with the consent agenda here. Consent agenda is, these are items that are all selected and voted on in one motion. Any council member or mayor or city manager can extract one of these items and put them on the agenda if needed. Nothing was said before the meeting, so possibly we'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So, go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Consent agenda stands approved at this time. We'll now move on to council business, the regular session. Item number 4, consideration upon awarding a bid proposal submitted for the West Loop 571 water system improvements. Neil, you want to?
Yes, sir.
Thank Mr. Brown. He's involved in that also. Maybe Mr. Boyd. Come on up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. On Monday, May 16th, the city took bids on a water line that will extend water from State Highway 64 west along the loop heading south that will serve the new CenterPoint Energy business that's going in out there, as well as providing water for the future TxDOT office that's going to relocate out on the west loop. There were 5 bids received. The low bidder was John Wright Construction with a total bid of $329,336.
That'll come from 259.
It comes from Highway 64. We'll tie in right there.
Okay.
The old, I guess that's Baker, not Baker Tank.
Yeah.
Southwest Tank, thank you.
Yeah.
Southwest Tank of Trigger. We'll tie into the 18 inches on the north side of the road, directional bore under 64, and then follow the loop right away on the east side of the loop until we get to the CenterPoint new office lot.
Gotcha.
And it's already under construction. And then we'll directional bore and go under the loop and have a stub out there for the future TxDOT office that'll be located out there as well.
Okay.
So you should have a bid sheet in front of you showing the other contractors that bid on the project. If it's the council's will, we would recommend awarding the project to John Wright Construction, the low bidder.
I'm sorry, can you give me that amount again, please?
It is $329,336.
Thank you.
What's that main are we putting in?
12 inch.
Wait on a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 4 stands approved. Item number 5 on the agenda is consideration of possible action on awarding a bid proposal for the 2022 Master Street Improvement Project. Now, Mr. Brown and Mr. Holland.
Mayor, Council, the 2022 Master Street Improvement Program is a collection of 10 streets. The low bidder on this project was Rayford's Truck and Tractor. As you will recall, Rayford's Truck and Tractor has completed the last 4 street projects for the city. We think they're a very competent, qualified contractor, and if it's your desire tonight, we'd recommend awarding the project to the low bidder for a total project price of $867,392.25.
We got 25 cents.
All right. Any questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Item number 5 stands approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6 on the agenda is consideration and possible action on approving the recommendation of the Selection Review Committee to award by resolution 2022-05-01 for administrative services in conjunction with the submittal of an application for funding through the 2022 Hazard Mitigation Grant Program for DR-4485 COVID-19 pandemic to provide application preparation, project administration, and project-related management services if awarded. Jay, you want to tell everybody what we're talking about?
I'll do my best. All right. Item number 6 and then item number 7, which we'll come to right after this one. Both of them are going to be pertaining to the same project, awarding grant, basically a grant. The first one is going to be the grant administrator that we're working on now, and then the second one would be the engineer for the project. So in the process of this hazard mitigation grant, there's specific procurement process you have to go through in selecting the firms that to handle each of those opportunities. And so there's on your, you should have the item 6 and 7 in front of you, and then the total calculations from the scoring committee officers and the scores there. And then also there's a sample of what the actual scoring sheet looked like in a real small print. If you want to try to read that, good luck.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So we had to put in bigger numbers, the totals up top that really matter for what we're talking about. So the very first one here, item 6, is the recommendation for administrative services. The two engineering firms, or the firms that looked at that, were Grant Works and Traylor and Associates, both very qualified to do the job. Ultimately, Traylor and Associates was the top score by all 4 of the scoring committee members, and that would be the recommendation to use Traylor and Associates as the grant administrator for this project. And the project is for the generator that's going to go at the new city hall location. It's a 90-10 grant, is that right? Anybody confirm that for me? It's a 90-10 grant, so we'd have to become at 10%. 10% is a lot better than 100%. Even in my Henderson math. Don't you agree, Coach?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's our recommendation, is to go is for basically approve the resolution in naming Traylor and Associates as the grant administrator.
Any questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the Grant and Traylor as the company for that, and the Grant Solutions.
So it would just be Trailer and Associates. Trailer and Associates, that's the administrators.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 6 stands approved at this time. Item number 7, consideration of possible action upon approving the recommendation of the Selection Review Committee to award by resolution 2022-05-02 for engineering services in conjunction with the submittal of an application for funding through the 2022 Hazard Mitigation Grant Program for DR-4485 COVID-19 pandemic to provide application preparation and project implementation if awarded. Okay?
Okay, same project. Again, the other half of it is the engineering services, is a different scoring sheet that we have to go by. And 2 firms submitted theirs, our own Stokes and Associates, and then LJA Engineering. And then you'll see in the scoring that Stokes and Associates had the high score from all 3 scoring committee officers that looked at it. And so the recommendation would be from staff and that scoring committee to name Stokes and Associates as the engineer for the grant project.
Okay. Any questions?
Is that 90/10 also?
Yes,
Yes.
I mean, the whole project.
It would be nice if outside.
Yeah.
I move we select Stokes and Associates as our engineering firm for the hazard mitigation grant project. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 7 stands approved.
More work. More
work.
Yes, sir.
work, Mr. Ward.
Item number 8 on the agenda, consideration of the second reading of ordinance 2021-04-07, amending the zoning map on the property located at 1112 Longview Drive from M1 zone to an IS zone. Mr. Hughes, would you like to explain this?
Mr. Mayor, Council, good evening. This is the second reading of the ordinance that we presented last month. The property that was owned by, or is owned by the International Outreach House of Prayer. They've leased this property to Sunshine Lighthouse Ministries for counseling for battered women and what have you, and education purposes. And they've requested this property be zoned institutional, give a little more flexibility with the use of the property. And they've got another portion of the property, another separate parcel that will remain M1. Their plans are to eventually build some duplexes or something back there for the women to stay in. But our staff and the planning and zoning commission both recommend this zoning change.
Any questions for Billy? Okay. Not, do we hear much?
I'll make a motion that we amend the zoning from multifamily to institutional at 1112 Longview Drive.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 8 stands approved. Item number 9 on the agenda is consideration upon the second reading of ordinance 2022-04-08, amending the zoning of properties located at Whippoorwill Street from R1 to a planned development zone. Mr. Hughes?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Council, this will be the second reading of this ordinance. We discussed this, Mr. Reddick had bought this property a while back and has plans to develop this into a planned development, mixed multifamily living along with single family dwelling and some commercial use. And this, the first step of this process is getting the zoning changed from R1 to planned development. If approved, Mr. Reddick will move forward with step 2, which will be back at council eventually with a developmental plan and recommendations from Planning and Zoning Commission with their ordinances and what have you. But at this time, the Planning and Zoning Commission and our staff both recommend this zoning change at your discretion.
Okay. Any questions for Billy on this item? If not, do we hear a motion?
I make a motion that we, accept the second reading for amending the zoning map for property located on Whippoorwill Street from R1 to a planning development. Did I get the right one?
You got it?
Yeah, okay.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 9 stands approved. Item number 10 is consideration and possible action for a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission selecting an appropriate zone for the voluntary annexation for Central Point Energy located at 1900 West Loop 571.
So, Mr. Mayor, thank you. We've studied the map, zoning map and what have you, and when a property is annexed, we have to assign it more or less an appropriate zone that'll work in that neighborhood and work into the future plans of development on that loop and what have you, and hopefully more annexations or voluntary annexations will come in. We came up with general commercial as the zone recommendation for that and presented it to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they agreed that would be the best zoning for that district out there. And our staff and Planning and Zoning both recommend that council approve this recommendation for zoning for CenterPoint's property as general commercial.
So that's gonna be their warehouse.
That's gonna be the warehouse, storage yard, offices as well.
Keep vehicles and everything.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Equipment, pipe, everything out there.
That's good. Any questions, more questions for Billy? Okay. If not, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise the right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 10 stands approved. Yes, thank you. Billy, you may be up here for a while.
I'll sit for a second, let you.
Item number 11 on the agenda is consideration upon the second reading of ordinance 2022-04-05 on a voluntary, same thing, voluntary annexation for CenterPoint Energy, Inc. on a property located at 1900 West Loop 570. Sure.
Yes, this would be the second reading, and I
Second reading.
inadvertently left action off of 8, 9, and 11. That's the reason the mayor is going ahead and asking y'all to take action, because it is the second reading. And it pertaining to our charter, on the second reading, we can approve that. So I apologize for leaving action off there, but they are action items tonight. And the ordinance has been updated with the C3 zone, the C2 zone that was recommended by Planning and Zoning. Joe's office already has that ordinance ready for us to sign if approved tonight.
Okay, any questions? Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. All right, item number 11 stands approved. Item number 12 on the agenda, consideration and possible action upon approving the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission for an amendment to the special exception uses, adding duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes to Article 2, Section 2.09, 2.011, 2.13 of the City of Henderson zoning ordinance. Billy?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and Council, this ordinance used to be in effect prior to 2016 and 17, when the new ordinances were adopted, the old ordinance permitted duplexes to be built by special exception in the R2, R3, and R4 zones. But it was by special exception, and this was allowed in order to get something going, perhaps build on some of the vacant lots in the older neighborhoods. And there are several where houses have burned or been moved off or whatever, just been left vacant over the years. And we consulted with the city attorney and on this and took it to planning and zoning. And we believe that if we were able to add duplexes, triplexes, and the fourplexes to these special exception uses, it will generate some more building, generate more tax dollars, and give some much needed places for rental property or for citizens that are seeking rentals. So Planning and Zoning Commission and our staff both recommend that the council will approve the first reading of this ordinance.
Some of you might mention it was inadvertently left out of the revised ordinance.
Yeah, we feel like it was accidentally left out, it just wasn't brought forward into the new book whenever it was written.
So we left off duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes.
Well, the ordinance said duplexes. The original ordinance said duplexes. After consulting with the city attorney, we decided we might add triplexes and fourplexes to accommodate some of the larger lots that are sitting there empty. But all this has to be done through special exception through the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's just not a free ticket to build. We'll make sure that all developmental standards would be met, setbacks and setback requirements and all that, parking and what have you.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we, get to the right place here.
In action.
That we,
This is first reading. It's just first reading.
Oh, it's first reading.
First reading.
Okay. Now, what does that do?
Yeah, the recommendation is bring forward for second reading.
Right. I got you. Good. We'll move on to item number 13. That's consideration on the first reading of ordinance 2022-05-09 for an amendment to the special exception.
That's not right on that. Council has to approve or deny the recommendation from planning and zoning before we can even do
Move
that.
on with this. Before we move to item number 13,
It's going to be voted on, it's just the approved.
the approved.
That's right.
Yes.
Only the
Yes.
approved.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
So go ahead, Adrian. All right.
I'll make a motion that we,
Number 12.
approve this recommendation for the, special exception for the, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes.
There you go. Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 12 stands approved at this time. Now
Here's the first reading.
Yes.
Now we'll move to item 13, consideration on the first reading of ordinance 2022-05-09 for an amendment to the special exception of uses adding duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes to Article 2, Sections 209, 211, 2, and 13 of the city zoning ordinances. Here we go. Sounds like a lot of verbiage, but it has to be on record correctly. Do I hear a motion? Well, actually, we're on all right, let's move on to item number 14. Item number 14 is consideration of possible action on a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission for an amendment to the Henderson zoning map for a property located at 2006 Jacksonville Drive from a residential zone R2 to a commercial zone C2.
Mr. Mayor, I think we have a little more work to do.
Yeah, let me jump in on this if I can. But that planning and zoning heard this, there was some confusion, I think. the best word. There's a lot of different, several things going on here. We have a zoning map that's not quite right. We think the plat is not quite right with the appraisal district has. Everybody's looking at some different things. Planning and zoning looked at it. Probably should have tabled it. They ended up making a decision to deny it. I had a couple of people missing from that committee that day as well. But there's a lot of unanswered questions that we want to work back through with the applicant, and we've already had some good conversation about that. So my suggestion is for council to table this, and let's come back to it after we grab all the information that we need to get things together to make a good decision. We wouldn't have all our questions answered tonight to be able to make an appropriate decision. I think we need to give it a little bit more time to get some questions answered. So that's kind of where we are. So my recommendation is to table that, and we'll get the answers we need for next council meeting and go from there.
So does council want to move the table?
So moved. Second.
Yeah. Motion has been made and seconded. We'll table this item. Then everybody approves. 15 is kind of a like situation here, same property, but I'm going to go ahead and read the thing in its entirety. Consideration upon the first reading of the ordinance for an amendment to the Henderson zoning map for a property located at 2006 Jacksonville Drive to change the zone from R2 to C2. In as much as it's the same item, but it has to be.
We would table that as well. We'll bring them both back.
Right.
If y'all want to do that, so I need a motion to table.
Move to table.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's what I was gonna ask, did we actually, since it was a first reading, did we actually have?
Yeah. Still have, still have.
You can't read it if we hadn't approved the ordinance.
Right. Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. All for table. All opposed. 15 stands tabled also. We move to item number 16 on the agenda. That's consideration and possible action upon a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission for an amendment to the Henderson zoning map for 8 properties owned by the First Baptist Church, changing this zoning from residential R2 to an institutional IS zone. Betty, you want to explain that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and Council, this property, the properties, it's 9 parcels that First Baptist Church owns that are on Standish and West Elk Street. Yeah, they've owned them for quite some time, and they came to us with some ideas, some things they wanted to do with the church, possibly parking, new fences and what have you. And requested, we got to look at, they were still zoned R2, and we decided that through their request that we would take the Planning and Zoning Commission to rezone these properties from R2 to institutional, to give the church a little more flexibility with these properties as far as development, parking lots, and what have you, things they want to do with that property. They're not 100% sure where it's going to go yet, but by the zoning change, the institutional zone will give them some more flexibility with setback lines and what have you, whatever they desire to do in the future. Our recommendation is council to approve this recommendation from planning and zoning and our staff.
Any questions or clarification? Billy can answer those. Awesome.
We need to approve it if we're going to.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're going, I'm waiting on them.
All of those properties are on Standish and Westville, you said?
Yes, ma'am, they're all in one block. There's the whole block, I think, say 3 parcels.
Yeah, it's kind of mixed up.
Youth building and what have you is in there. The volleyball area.
Can you zoom into
Different fences and different.
Yes, there's some fences, tall fences around the
Out of
house,
whack.
that are the disrepair, they want to change out, what have you.
Hey, Billy. One, 2, 3, 4, is that has counted?
Yes, ma'am.
6 counts 1, 5, 6. All those counts 4? 4.
Then,
Just want to confirm.
Yes, ma'am.
Those right there.
Right there.
Yes.
That's it, right there. I'll just sit down the houses right now. Oil structures. I just want to try to visualize those.
Mostly houses,
These houses.
residential type.
I think the one on the left is the new building.
Yeah, storage, it looks like storage, well, like metal bin.
Oh, did you say eight? Yours says nine.
Are they utilizing them for housing now? Any way, are they used for housing?
Most of the lots are empty there, the legal, two structures still on these properties? Or just the one?
Well, the youth house,
The
the
youth
church uses for youth functions and whatnot, and then the legacy house, which is the greenhouse, is what the, Shana Mullen and them use for foster
Right.
families to come and get items.
Okay. Any more questions? Now's the time to ask. If you need more questions, answer.
I'd make,
Did you lose your page?
I'd make a motion that we
39.
Approve which one they recommendation.
approve the recommendation. Let's do it that way.
Do I hear a second? Or wait?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Item number 16 stands approved at this time. Item number 17 is consideration upon the first reading of ordinance 2022-05-11 for an amendment to the Henderson zoning map for those 8 properties on the first register, changing the zone from R2 to IS. Same thing in a different form.
First reading on first reading.
Yeah, oh, yeah, okay. Item number 18, consideration of possible action on resolution 2022-05-03, grant number 4535401 on an application for PY23 to receive 3 text warning radios.
Mayor, council, good evening. We're asking for your consideration and possible action on this resolution, which will be a grant for $10,000, which will just about buy 3 text one vehicle radios.
It's just to approve the grant application. To just approve the grant, yeah.
The resolution is,
I make a motion that we approve.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 18 stands approved. Item number 19, consideration and possible action on the resolution 2022-05-04 for grant number 4539101 on an application for fiscal year 23 for the purchase of a community outreach vehicle.
yes, sir.
Okay.
We're asking for consideration on this as well. It's a community outreach vehicle that will be used by patrol to go to community outreach events. It will be outfitted as a vehicle, but it probably won't be outfitted completely, like with a cage and such, just in case we need several officers going to a single event. But it was a grant for $25,000, which will assist us in getting another vehicle specifically for patrol community outreach.
What type of vehicle would it be? SUV or something?
Most likely a pickup truck or SUV.
Probably.
You said it says, what do you think?
Sorry.
What do you think the 25 will do? So what are we looking at?
No, sir, I do not. I think it's going to be about 14,000 more probably. And we're looking at 4-wheel pickup trucks, which is a cheaper route to go. There's a couple other agencies around here who's done the same thing. They're ready to lower their costs that way.
Do I hear a motion? Second. Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Like sign opposed. Item number 19 stands approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Now it's time for departmental reports. Some of the managers are here. You all have all their reports in your packet. If you have any questions, for you those present here, now's the time to ask those questions. If not, we'll give you a few minutes here to look this over. And we have some boards and commissions minutes here to also approve. Be thinking about that. All right. All right, any questions?
I don't have any questions on it, but I sure do thank all those departments for helping us get moved over across the street.
We have a lot of cooperation.
Yes, we did. It was very organized, got in, got moved. It's nice, thank y'all.
Turned out to be really an uncluttered move. I thought it went quite well for what it was. Chaos usually comes about during a mass move like that. This didn't seem, it was controlled chaos.
Semi.
Yeah, it was very good. Had a lot of help. All right, so with no questions concerning these departmental reports and things, it's 6:41. We're going to move into executive session. Okay.